On Walton's mountain, life hums with anticipation as the family prepares for the arrival of a new generation. While Olivia Walton shops for flannel at Ike Godsey's store. The younger Waltons pass time playing catch outside till Mary Ellen arrives on foot and joins in. Nearby, Cassie, a quiet young woman expecting her first child, purchases a bottle of grape soda, exchanging a brief, polite greeting with Mary Ellen. Meanwhile, the Baldwin sisters pull up in their vintage car, deep in planning mode. They rearranging a surprise baby shower for Mary Ellen and are on the hunt for invitations. Ever the romantic, Corabeth proposes a lace-trimmed umbrella as the centerpiece, a touch of elegance for the celebration to come. Back at the house, Ben introduces a playful tradition, a baby pool. Everyone chips in a quarter, betting on the exact date and time of Mary Ellen's delivery. The winner takes the pot $2, Ben estimates with boyish confidence. The children weigh the idea with mixed enthusiasm, debating its merits, while Jason arrives early from the Dewdrop Inn, his spirits low. A kitchen grease fire has shut the place down for weeks, jeopardizing his school tuition. At the same time, Jim Bob seeks advice from Yancey Tucker about Reckless the family dog, who's been unusually lethargic. Yancey confirms the happy news. Reckless is pregnant and almost certainly by his own dog. Tiger, Jim Bob sees an opportunity. Selling the puppies he imagines could afford him a new tire. In return, Yancey claims first pick of the litter. Ben, ever resourceful, purchases exactly 2 inches of gasoline at Ike's car's fuel gauge long broken. He measures manually. He shares the baby pool idea with Ike, who, always a savvy businessman, offers to sell extra entries to his customers. Inside the Walton home, Mary Ellen mops the kitchen floor as part of her prenatal exercise routine, much to her parents' concern that she may be pushing herself too hard. When Kurt arrives, the conversation turns serious. Where will the baby be born? Kurt advocates for the modern safety of Charlottesville Hospital under Dr. Alexander's care. Mary Ellen, however, longs for the warmth and familiarity of home, surrounded by the crisp mountain air. Her parents and Grandpa Zeb weigh in, transforming the discussion into a lively, multi-generational debate. Outside, the sky darkens with an approaching storm, and so does the episode's tone. Cassie's grandfather arrives at Dr. Willard's office just as she begins labor. With Kurt still away on a house call, Mary Ellen reluctantly steps in to assist. By the time they reach Cassie's remote cabin, the tragic truth is clear. Cassie has delivered a stillborn daughter, fragile, born too soon. Grief-stricken and overwhelmed by superstition, she recalls spotting a dead bird on her windowsill the day before Cassie begins chanting an eerie old-time rhyme, warning of omens and curses. Mary Ellen, shaken and unsettled, retreats outside Lee to find Cassie's grandfather silently carving a small wooden casket in the pouring rain. In panic, she flees down the muddy road straight into danger. A downed power line arcs violently across a fence. At her most desperate moment, Kurt finds her calming her hysteria, shielding her from the storm, both literal and emotional. Back home, Kurt reassures her she and the baby are safe for now. Meanwhile, John tenderly polishes the family cradle, its wood slightly charred from the earlier house fire, a symbol of resilience. Upstairs, Erin calls everyone to witness Reckless's decision to give birth in her bed. With a sigh and a smile, John relocates the expectant dog to Jim Bob's room. Erin confesses she's in no rush to follow suit. Pregnancy, with its swollen ankles and morning sickness, holds little appeal. Downstairs, Jason brightens the mood. He's landed a short-term gig playing piano for the Magnolia Blossom Theatre's orchestra in Charlottesville. He assumes it's vaudeville lunaware. It's actually a burlesque show headlined by Miss Honeysuckle Rose, the Baldwin sisters' host, Mary Ellen's baby shower, presenting her with a delicate wicker bassinet. Mrs. Brimmer performs her customary tea leaf readings, only this time her expression clouds when she peers into Mary Ellen's cup. Something troubles her, but she says little. As guests help tidy up, Mary Ellen glances out the window and sees Cassie standing silently in the yard. That night, haunted by visions of Cassie chanting under stormlit skies, Mary Ellen confesses her unease to Kurt, linking it to Mrs. Brimmer's ominous reading. Kurt, ever rational, dismisses the superstitions, but the seed of dread remains. The next day, Olivia visits Mary Ellen, offering quiet support. Kurt takes the opportunity to check on Cassie and finds her not at the cabin, but in the abandoned house where she once lived with her parents, in a fragile, fragmented state. Cassie whispers that Mary Ellen is cursed, that her baby, surviving against odds, may now be in danger. After Kurt departs, Cassie cradles a Raggedy Ann doll as if it were her own lost child. Later, Elizabeth and Amy Godsey visit and for the first time. Mary Ellen lets them listen to the baby's heartbeat with a stethoscope, feel its kicks beneath her palm. The moment is tender, full of wonder, yet it triggers a sudden urgency. Mary Ellen asks Kurt to take her to the hospital immediately. Elizabeth waits up, hoping for news of a birth, but it's a false alarm. Later, Grandpa pulls Ben aside, proposing a secret outing, a trip to Charlottesville to see the show at the Magnolia Blossom Theatre. Very interesting, Yancey Tucker had said with a wink. Though Ben is nearly of age, they can only borrow Jim Bob's sputtering jalopy, forcing him along to. At the theatre, Miss Honeysuckle Rose performs in a provocative act. Balloons conceal her costume, popping one by one. When one proves stubborn, Grandpeva, the gentleman with a mischievous streak removes his lapel flower pin, and Pop 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 clears the stage with devilish flair. Sunday morning, at Church Rev, Buchanan delivers a layered sermon. He begins by celebrating the Walton family, legacy, for generations soon to grace the same mountain, then shifts to a warning about moral peril, about young men straying into places God has forsaken. Jason shifts uneasily in his pew, the words piercing his conscience. At dinner, Elizabeth, ever curious, asks what a flesh pot is. Ben and Jim Bob erupt in laughter, pointing squarely at Jason. Cornered, he confesses, Yes, he's been playing piano at a burlesque house. Olivia is deeply disappointed, not angry, but sorrowful. How, she asks quietly, can you play for a trashy girly show on Saturday night and go to church on Sunday? She leaves the table, taking her plate with her. John then turns sternly to his sons. He may not be able to lecture his father, but he can make sure they understand his views on such entertainments. Mary Ellen leans over to Elizabeth. Well, she whispers, "Now you know what a fleshpot is." The next day, Yancey swings by the Waltons for lumber to build a doghouse for Tiger and his future pup. Just then, Erin calls them inside. Reckless has delivered her first puppy on her bed again. Jim Bob groans, how will he afford that tire now? Especially when Yancey cheerfully reminds him he still gets first pick. Tension rises again at Ike's store, where Mary Ellen encounters Cassie. Without preamble, Cassie murmurs, "My baby came, but yours isn't coming at all." The words hang in the air, ominous. Moments later, Amy reveals Ben's betting pool to the whole school, prompting Mary Ellen to march straight to the Walton house for a confrontation. But as she steps inside, labor grips her suddenly. Powerfully, Kurt arrives in time to confirm it's too late for the hospital. Her wish to deliver on Walton's mountain will come true. After all, she's settled into Grandpa's room. Jim Bob races to fetch medical supplies from Kurt's office, but his car overheats on the way. Ben, Erin, and Jason rescue him, piling into their father's truck for the return. Olivia, protecting the children from the intensity of labor, sends them to wait at Mrs. Brimmer's, though Ben and Jason protest, insisting they're no longer children. John agrees to let them stay, makes his expectations clear. Finally, after hours of waiting, hope and prayer, cry pierces the night. A healthy baby boy, John Curtis Willard. Olivia emerges first, cradling him gently for John and Zeb to see. Zeb, who'd never been one for waiting, now stands speechless, eyes glistening. The family gathers quietly in Grandpa's room, marveling at the newborn, and Erin, the girl who swore off motherhood just days before, melts the moment she holds her nephew, whispering soft words into his tiny ear. 5 days later, Amy and Corabeth pay a formal visit, presenting Mary Ellen with a thoughtful welcome gift. Jason returns home with better news. He has been hired by the Old Dominion gospel singers, the very choir Olivia listens to every Sunday. When she asks how, he explains the choir director happened to be at the theater, heard him play, and offered the job on the spot. Olivia chooses to believe he only came for the movie and nothing more. Ben, humbled, apologizes to Mary Ellen for the pool and presents his gift, a beautifully wrapped bundle of baby clothes purchased with his winnings. She accepts it graciously. Later, as Olivia hangs laundry beside Mary Ellen, they speak softly of motherhood, hope, and fear. When Olivia goes inside to check on little John Curtis, her heart stops. The cradle is empty. Panic surges. With Kurt and John, she hurries up the mountain, certain they'll find Cassie and the baby at the old family shack. They do. Cassie holds the infant gently, not harmfully lost in a fragile dream. Olivia approaches calm and compassionate. She doesn't accuse, she reasons. She asks, "Would you like to be the one to give him back to his mother?" Cassie nods tearfully, gratefully. Back at the house, Mary Ellen's relief turns instantly to anger. "Stay away from him," she snaps. But Cassie doesn't retreat. "I would never hurt him," she says, voice breaking. "I just wanted to pretend. Just for a little while." In that moment, Mary Ellen sees not a threat, but a grieving mother drowning in sorrow. She exhales, nods. Forgiveness not full, not yet, but the beginning of understanding. As the door closes behind them, the family gathers once more around the cradle, around the fire, around the newest thread in the tapestry of Walton's mountain, fragile, cherished, and fiercely protected. You scent. As the fire crackles softly in the hearth and the house settles into quiet, Elizabeth, still wide-eyed with the day's emotions, climbs the stairs one last time. She pauses at the bedroom door where Mary Ellen cradles little John Curtis, his tiny fingers curled around hers. Elizabeth steps inside, tiptoeing over to the cradle. She leans in, whispering so gently it's barely more than breath. "Good night, Mama. Good night, baby John. Sleep tight on the mountain." Then, with a small, satisfied smile, she turns and slips back down the hall, leaving the newest generation wrapped in love, in legacy, and in the enduring light of home. Good night, Walton's Mountain. Good night. And God bless us, everyone.